Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 51-year-old from Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, no.
He's the owner of the Cardiff Devils since 2014 and the Cranbrook Bucks since 2020, if Elite Prospects is right. He is a two-time Challenge Cup winner, a two-time playoff winner, and has 2 league titles under his belt, which I would think should have been 3. Welcome to the podcast, Steve King. How are you?
Fantastic, Wally. But, I don't know how you start with pissing a guy off right off an intro.
Sorry. I should have said a joke.
No, like saying that I'm from Edmonton, like that cuts to the core, man.
Well,
like, that cuts to the core.
That's what Elite Prospects told me.
Listen, like you don't rely on everything you see on the internet. Okay, so technically I was born there, but I came to Calgary when I was 3 months old. It does not count. I'm a Calgarian.
I know that. I know you're a huge Flames fan and you live in Calgary, but you're from Edmonton. That is where you entered the world.
No, and it bugs my mom that I always debate whether I'm from Edmonton or not, because she's like a true Edmontonian, and in fact her dad was the mayor of Edmonton at one point, and she hates it that I'm like so anti-Edmonton.
I guess there is the Battle of Alberta, right? You had to choose sides at an early age.
Yeah, and let's now I gotta correct another thing too. So everybody from Ontario says Calgary. It's Calgary.
Calgary.
Take the second A out. Calgry. Calgary. Not Calgary. That's what.
Not Calgary. Calgary.
Not Calgary. Calgary.
Okay.
There we go. Now we can proceed.
Okay. All right. I don't think I ever said. I might have said Calgary. Okay.
He said Calgary.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what? I'll be better. I know when I'm not playing my best. Okay. Here's the next thing is how we know each other.
Yeah.
Basically, there's some history here as you became the owner of the Cardiff Devils about 6 weeks before I signed with them for the first time. That year we won a Challenge Cup championship about, I guess it'd be 6 months after all that happened. 7 months, maybe.
Yeah.
That would have happened quick, eh?
It was ridiculous. And so, the Devils out of a 10-team league were 9th place when me and my buddies bought it. And just miserable. I remember one of the reports was that they were getting more people protesting outside the arena about the shitty owner. The more people outside the arena protesting than were actually inside the arena watching the games. So I go, that sounds like a perfect situation right there. A low bar. That's what I need.
Oh, no. Yeah. You guys didn't have a low bar when you came in though, but I heard stories of what it was like before. Players, I heard of fans pooling money together to help the players to get paid.
It's true. And you know what? It was unbelievable. And there was quite a few players that the guy reneged on their contract, and some of the fans passed the hat. We actually, when we came in, we actually gave some, it was the goalie, actually, I can't remember his name. We finished his contract, even though obviously we didn't have to. But we just thought, that's not the way to start things. Like you gotta, right? Yeah, that's who it was, Dan LaCosta. Yeah. So we finished off his contract, even though it wasn't our deal. And so it was kind of the start. You want to do things right. I got three of my best buddies that we did this with, and we just thought, we're all big sports fans. We're just regular guys, and like, what would you want the owner of your favorite team to be like? That was basically what we said. And you got to treat everybody right. And treat everybody like family. It's been kind of the constant through the whole time.
No, you guys have definitely done that. I saw it firsthand. And when you've played in like the second league in Germany, Denmark, and some places are better than others, and some of the apartments they give you, and the attention to detail there would be. But like Todd, when we got there, the first day we arrived in our apartment, the crib was set up. There was a jersey laid out for Colby with 18 Walton on the back. The fridge was full. Everything was red for Devils. Like it was like I was in real pro again, kind of, it's
actually one of my my favorite things. Like we've had some guys, probably more since you left, because the league keeps on getting better and better and better. And so we've had some guys that, with some pretty serious NHL games on their resume. And to a man, those guys have said, you know what, our favorite year of hockey was the year with the Devils. And, I had Sean Morrison, I don't know, 300 or 400 NHL games, said he's never been treated better in his hockey career, including with the Washington Capitals, where he was Mike Green's D partner, than he was with the Devils. And I'm going, that's awesome.
Well, that's actually another part of how we know each other. It was, I guess you're one of the owners that is part of Wally Night. And the reason that comes up is because that was that guy's first game with the Devils. That's right. When I jumped out of the coach's room, spray painted naked with the Taz head on. And that was his first game out of the NHL.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So if he was having fun, I'm glad he liked the show.
You know what? He hasn't brought that up as part of his favorite things, but like what a perfect introduction to the EIHL.
And on Bounsy's interview, he said that right before that, he would walked up to him just in a Speedo and his tramp stamp. Because I know Bounsy's lived with you before, right? So you've seen the tramp stamp, right?
Yeah, no, sadly, I've seen far too much of the tramp stamp. And, so I've got 3 kids. So I get this guy coming in from the UK every summer and spending, a month with us or so training. And, we live on a little lake here in Calgary. So, we'd go swimming or whatever. And I just, every time, oh my God, like what
was he thinking? Like every time you look at it, you just think, what was he thinking?
Yeah. So my 2 boys, they actually get along really, really well with Ben. And so they spent a lot of time designing his next tattoo. And I'm not making this up. So his next tattoo that he wants is of a pig that's dressed as a pimp, the full, the big fur hat and the walking stick and the coat and everything, but it's a pig. So the pig pimp, that's Bounsy's next tattoo. I don't know.
So if he's already got the low back filled out, where's this one going?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to know. I'm hoping to never see that one.
Okay. Well, that's also just for me pumping your tires here is for being an owner of a minor league hockey team in the UK while you live in Calgary. You had the goalie, Calgary. Okay. Whatever. But you had Ben Bounds come and live with your family for like a month every summer to help him become a better goaltender, and look at the career he's put together. But you guys did that for him to help him with his career, right?
Yeah, no, he's it boggled my mind that, this guy's good. Like he's a really good goalie and he's never really had any kind of like real training. And I'm probably really pissing off some of the coaches he's had in the UK. But we just figured, if you can have a British goalie and have an extra import as a skater instead of using an import spot in net, and if that guy can be good, like that's a huge advantage. So, why don't we bring him over here? I know a guy named David Marcoux, who is Mika Kiprasov's goalie coach here with the Flames. And so asked Marcoux if he would train Bownsy when he came over. And he would come over for, I don't know, probably 3 weeks every summer and train with Marcoux pretty much every day. And I'd have him running some hills and eating a little better than he did in the UK. So So yeah, it was good.
No, he did need to learn about dieting like I had to learn during my career. It's hard. Food can taste good sometimes after a hard workout.
It really does. And same with this stuff. It doesn't help to figure that much either.
By the way, cheers. You're the first owner on the podcast. So cheers.
I'm honored.
And thank you for coming on the podcast. And like you said, you want to be the owner you would want to play for or be a fan of. I'm a player that's been done for 5-6 years now, and I'm reaching out to the old owner to come on the podcast, and you're actually making the time for me. And like, you were one of the easiest guests to get a hold of. I was like, will you come on? You said yes. I said, how this time works for me with the kids. How about you? You said, I'll make anything work for Wally. And my heart just, it's so full.
So, obviously, the three other owners, and Brian Parker, he's an absolute beauty as well. And so I was talking to Brian yesterday, told him I was going to be on the Wally show. He was super excited. And so his number one recollection, maybe not number one, but one of his recollections of Wally was, I think, the first time we came to Cardiff, and, we had heard that this guy, Brent Walton, he may not be a lot to look at, but he's got, some unbelievable mitts, and he's going to put up some big numbers. And we went there, and early on, like, you were putting up shit, like nothing.
Yeah.
And we were talking to you after one of the games, having some beers, and you said, guys, look, I know I'm not putting up any points right now, but I know what I'm doing. Okay, just bear with me. and sure enough, you did.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things that turned that season around. The biggest one was Urge. The guy that twists you around and cracks you up. My knee was hurting for a while there at the start, and my brace wasn't moving well, right? So my leg wasn't moving well because the brace was seizing up. And then Todd got me a new brace, and things got a little better. And then Urge got me off of using a knee brace, and that's when things really turned around, because I hadn't played without a knee brace in like 6 years. And then I was back for a little while there for about maybe 3/4 of a season.
I looked it up today. 59 points in 51 games. Not too shabby.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, no, it turned out all right. I mean, it was a struggle though at the start, because I remember going in there that I was supposed to be one of the big signings, and it wasn't working out that way at the start.
But you know what? We still bring up your name. Like, we've got a new coach coming in next year, but Lordo would usually use me to kind of be the closer with new recruits. Like, I'd call him up and say, hey, a little special attention from the owner you don't usually get in other leagues. So I would just say, hey, look, find me another franchise in Europe that has never released a player ever. Because we have never let a guy go. And so I actually bring up your story about, your second year when your knee was done, and like every other club in Europe would have sent you home, and that would have been it. No. But we kept you there all year behind the bench. And we're really proud of that. Like, to have never let a player go, because we've had some incidents with players, not just injuries, but guys that weren't, doing the right things, even away from the ice. And to have never let anybody go, like, because to me, especially bringing guys over from North America, like some of them are bringing families over. Like, it's a big thing to move across the world. And to me, like, it's really unfair to, just send that guy packing, because halfway through the year, what are you going to do? You can't get on with another team. So to me, if somebody is not what we thought they were, it's our fault. It's not their fault. So, we're not sending you home.
Well, like you're trying to make me get emotional here. I don't know what to say right now. But yeah, my career was over. My house was rented out at home. I had nowhere to go with 2 kids and a wife. And yeah, any other team would have sent me home because the doctor said my career was over.
Yeah.
And and I went out for a beer with Todd and talked to him, and the doctor had said it was over. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'll do whatever I can do to help. I'll do like anything, but like, I don't know what to do with this. And Todd said to me that night, he said, I'm not going to ask you to leave. He goes, I've never been in this situation before, but or he might have said he'd sit on it for the night or whatever he said. I don't know if he had to talk to you, but he basically said that we were fine, not to stress out with my 2 little, like my baby and toddler. And he said I'd be fine. And we stayed there, and I helped in the office. I sold some tickets. I took out some match night sponsors. I was the power play coach. And also I did a couple pregame speeches.
A couple.
And I also tried to bring the fan club together on the bus.
Yeah.
So I tried to do my part. Okay.
You did your part and more. Yeah. I don't know who got the better of that deal.
Well, I'm still a brand ambassador. Look, I'm doing a podcast talking about how great you guys are all the time. Look at this.
Totally.
I brought you on just for your pad tap today. So here you go.
Now, I do have to tell everybody, like, if you get hurt, we're not going to force you to run around naked like Wally did. Like, that was his choice.
Oh dear. Yeah. It's like, there's so many other guys that should have had a night instead of me. And now that I've had the night, the guys just said, wow, you ruined it for all these other guys. Cause like now they're expected to like take their top off in the crowd and wave a flag.
Yeah, too good. That's what makes the whole thing. Like it's such a, like, I can't even describe the whole Devils experience to people. Like, it's just such a family and just so fun and so cool. Like the whole thing, I just can't get enough.
I know. I've been actually was thinking about it today when you were going to be on, just how, like, for me, it was just so cool to have a Wally night. And thank you so much, by the way. But like, you guys actually own the team and own the brand, and like, you get to see what it's become. Like, I think it's cool seeing what it's become. And I'm not even really a part of it. I just talk about it on a podcast, but like, you guys are the owners and you guys have watched it grow to what it was, I guess, there than COVID, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's so weird. Like, you sound like such a dick telling people that you own a hockey team in Europe, right? And I go, like, listen, like, we barely paid anything for it. So yeah, we've made it better since we bought it, but like, we're not big fancy people. Like, we're just doing something that we really love and making it good for everybody else, because all of that comes around to winning more, and that's all we want to do is win championships, which is all we've done. So because you know what, with starting with you and your group, everybody's had so much fun and enjoyed being in Cardiff. It actually makes getting really good players a lot cheaper, because if it's even close, they're going to come to Cardiff. And so we get better players than we probably should because of the way we've handled things in the past, which means we win. And that's, again, I'm a Calgary Flames fan. I'm a fan of a whole bunch of different things. That's what I would want my owners to do, right? To run the best ship in the business, which allows you to win. Like, that's all I want to do is win championships. So yeah, it's been pretty awesome, but it really has very little to do with us. And it's as it's Todd in Cardiff.
Okay, well,
he does everything.
I do have that down for later on the episode, so we'll just bring it up now, because I just did a freestyle Friday with a couple German guys where I had no notes. So I have notes today, but
nice.
Todd here, I have him down later on because his legacy in the UK league for what he did in Belfast first, because when I went to the UK, Belfast was known as the top dog. And I don't know if I've said this on here. I thought I was messaging Belfast when I messaged Todd on some website. I thought I was messaging Belfast, and he wrote back to me like, I don't really deal with the players. Our coach will reach out to you soon. It's Andrew Lord. But I'm with the Cardiff Devils now. So then I was like, what is going on? And anyways, I talked to Lordo, figured all that out. But what Todd did in Belfast to then come to Cardiff, and I saw the attention to detail. I saw, because he's been a hockey player and he knows what the players need. He knows what players need to play good. He knows who's a prima donna. He knows like who's a team guy. He knows everybody, and he runs the best hockey team I've ever seen.
Yeah, bar none. Yeah, no, it's a pretty cool story. So I'll talk about kind of how this all got going with me and Todd. So right across the street from me here is Todd's sister, Tanya. So Tanya and her husband Byron have been mine and my wife's best friends since university. So Byron and I played high school basketball against each other, and then 1992, so getting close to 30 years ago, we started with 6 other guys, the senior men's basketball dynasty that is the Fighting Tacos here in Calgary. And so, yeah, it's a, you think the Devils are a dynasty, the Fighting Tacos are a real dynasty. So anyways, so that's how I got to know Todd, starting 30 years ago. And when Todd got the Boston Bruins, believe it or not, to go to Belfast and play the Giants. And so Todd calls us up through Byron and says, like, you guys got to come. Like, this is chance of a lifetime. And so, like, what the hell? Let's do this. I've never been to Belfast. Never seen a hockey game in Europe at all. And what a cool experience. So we go there, and we're staying with the Bruins. And so I was actually watching the Flames Leafs are playing right now, and it's Milan Lucic's 1000th game tonight. And so we're hanging out with Luch and Cam Neely and I remember Brad Marchand was a rookie that year. It was the year they won the cup, 2010-11. And so that was my first experience.
With them where?
In Belfast.
Oh, so, yeah, because they were playing them.
They were playing the Belfast Giants. They, how some teams start off the year in Europe?
Yeah, right. I remember they played them there, right?
So the Bruins were starting off, I think, in the Czech Republic, and Todd talked the NHL into kind of an exhibition game against the Giants on the way, because the Ireland-Boston connection, right? So talk about, the kind of guy that Todd is. Like, who could pull that off?
Only Todd could pull that off. Yeah.
And so we go and just had the time of our lives. And I just loved the fans. Like, the fans were just unbelievable. They had this power play song that they would sing for the entire 2 minutes that the Giants were on the power play. And in fact, my 2 boys still sing it during power plays when we're watching stuff on TV, because I was used to sing it back in the day. So anyways, so that was 2010-11. And then Todd was back in the summer of 2013, back home in Calgary here. And he was on my back deck. So me, Todd, and his brother-in-law, Byron, having a bunch of beers. And, most of my good ideas they come after about my 12th beer. Okay. So I said, like, Todd, like, you're the best. Like, you're an unbelievable marketer. You put a winning product on the ice every single year. Like, he was credited within Belfast for easing tensions between the Catholics and the Protestants, for Christ's sake. Like, it's crazy, kind of the impact he has. And I said, so, like, you don't own any part of the team. Like, you're just getting a salary. Like, why don't we find a team to buy, and I'll cut you in for 20% of it, because you should have ownership in a team. Like, you're that good. And so I thought it was a pretty good offer. And I don't know, I would say 3 or 4 months go by. And so like I sent Todd away with kind of the project, like, let's do this. And 3 or 4 months go by. I haven't heard a word from him. And so Byron and I are driving to a basketball game. And I said, Byron, like, I don't want to be an asshole and everything, but, Todd never got back to me. I think it's kind of rude. He said, what do you mean? He said, oh, I offered to buy a team with him and cut him in for 20 points. And the guy hasn't even called back. And so Byron, the very next day, calls up Todd and he's like reaming him out. And Todd says, are you kidding me? I thought he was just kidding. Like, so he hadn't done anything about it. And so,
well, because you had 12 beers.
Yeah, but
that's when you do sometimes when you do your best thinking, even in Calgary, in Kincardine, Elmira, or Calgary.
So then it got a little troubling because he went to the very next Board of Governors meeting for the EIHL. He gets up and he says, look, a really good friend of mine is passionate about hockey. He's really interested in becoming an owner. And, him and I would work together on it. So if any of you are interested in selling, give me a call on my cell after this meeting, because I don't want to, do it in front of everybody right now. And so like literally an hour after that meeting, 5 of the 10 teams called him. We're going, oh shit. Yeah. So yeah, it was interesting. And so we went down the road with a couple other teams. Some of the markets just aren't big enough to really make a difference.
So how does that go then? Like, how much do you know from Calgary? Calgary.
Stop.
Sorry, I GERD too much that time. All right, I tried to do it too much. I overemphasized. Okay, but when you're over there and you're looking at a few teams in the UK, are you trusting Todd's word to the ground, or like, are you going over there 100%. Putting boots on the ground and seeing the teams, or are you just going off of like when I called a coach, like when I called Dan Seaman and I'm like, what's Cardiff like? Is that what it's like? Is that what you're doing?
Oh, Todd knows all the teams in and out. Like, he gets accused of having too much power within the league by other teams' fans, but he knows every team's situation inside and out, and the basic economics. What kind of fan support they get, and kind of the the size and standard of living of each of the cities there. And so yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer. You had like I was saying earlier, like a pretty low bar with the last group, and the team was in trouble, and you had this brand new arena being built by the city, and in the city bylaws, believe it or not, is a bylaw that says the Cardiff Devils can never pay rent. So going, huh? So that's pretty good.
So you never pay rent on anything, like the time on ice, dressing room, like
yeah.
What?
Yeah. So
who finagled that into the bylaw?
The fans.
Oh, good for them. They're the best.
They're the best. And so the Cardiff Devils used to have a downtown rink, which turned into a shopping mall. And so the fans were just furious that the rink got taken away from them. And so they formed a group and protested and met with city council. And so city council basically promised them that they'd get a developer, as part of the deal for giving them land to develop for residential condos and whatnot. That group would have to build a rink, and the Cardiff Devils would not have to pay rent at that rink. And so it was funny, the previous owner thought he had a lot of leverage, saying, oh, you should pay a huge amount for this team because you're going to get rent free in this brand new arena. And so we started off with a big number that wouldn't have worked. And so we kind of got the people within Cardiff, including Franny mostly, that was behind the scenes this whole time, the legend of Cardiff, Neil Francis. And so they basically got the city to tell that owner that he was not going to be allowed in the new rink and that he would have to sell to us. And so the price went from here to here in one day.
So Franny got who to tell the owner he wouldn't be allowed in the arena? The developer?
No, the town council.
The town council, the fans.
No, like the city council, like the mayor.
Right, the same ones that they were protesting getting the bylaw put in. Why? Because the players weren't getting paid and you honored the contracts afterwards. So it sounds like a mess.
It was a mess. So, and that's what you want, right? Out of a business deal is you want to get into a mess that you can turn around.
Yeah. And then you sick Todd on it and Bob's your uncle.
You got the Scotty Bowman of the EIHL running the thing for you. And you got a brand new arena and no rent.
Right. And then you got suspect old guys like me coming along with one leg and then everything. And then you start spray painting them and
that's it.
Yeah. And then the next thing you know.
Yeah. I can't remember that part. Like in our original business model, I don't remember the naked spray painted guy, but hey, it works.
It's whatever brings a team together, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, this has basically been like Freestyle Friday because I haven't looked at the notes much here because my question now then, I think we've gone over a lot of how you became owners and all that.
That was the whole story right there.
Right. Is there anything else other than like how do you bring the other I guess, is it 3 or 2?
Sorry. The other 3 guys. Yeah. So, so just, I was going into this and like I said, like the purchase price for the team came to like almost nothing. And, but this isn't going to be nearly as much fun if you're doing it on your own. Like I got to have some wingmen here. So guys that I know share my passion for hockey, and mostly just share passion. Like you just have to have passion, period. And so I was Brian and Kelly are guys that I do a lot of business with here in town. Brian's wife I've known literally since grade 7, and so really, really close friends and just great people to travel with, which is another part of the thing you want, right? Because these are, as you know, these trips are not for the faint of heart. And and then Craig, our boys he lives in the neighborhood, and our boys played hockey right from the time they were in Timbits. And our boys were actually in a spring tournament in Los Angeles when I was putting this deal together with Todd, and he's like listening in, and I get off the phone and he says, like, fuck, like you have to cut me in on this. I said, all right, you're in.
Holy, really?
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to become part owner by having this podcast, but I haven't even got a sponsor yet. So I guess it's a long ways away. I just wanted one share, but whatever. Okay.
That's it. We'll keep talking. We'll keep talking about it.
Okay. Next, I got 2 random questions. Actually, one's already covered, I think, because I did send out a couple feelers to a couple of your colleagues there in the ownership group. And a couple of the questions was, why is your Twitter at Taco Steve? But I guess that's the basketball team, right?
Taco Steve 10. That's my basketball team. 10 is my number. And so yeah, everybody on the team has that Twitter.
Why Taco?
Kind of concept.
Why Taco?
Our original sponsor was Yucatan's Taco Stand, and so they named us the Fighting Tacos, and it was actually a pretty hopping place in Calgary back in the day. It doesn't exist anymore, but like we'd get no cover front of the line. We were kind of a big deal in the Yucatan's Taco Stand.
They'd give you some extra salsa, probably extra cheese too, eh?
Extra unlimited salsa.
Well, you know what my junior team did for me? Because I broke the team scoring record, so I did win player of the game quite a bit. They gave me a free meal at McDonald's for every player of the game I won. So it was a good start to my dieting career there.
And so it started.
Yeah, that's where it started, folks. Okay, next question. The 1988 Calgary Olympics. Has that got anything to do with your family bloodlines?
Yeah, no, my dad was kind of the Mr. Olympics here in town, and like my dad, I lost him 2 years ago, and just like the ultimate beauty of all beauties, and just this guy who came from nothing in this little town in southern Alberta called Redcliffe, and his dad died when he was 13 years old, so I had to get a job when he was 13 to help support the family, and just like I talk about passion. Like passion is like my number one thing, and it's because of my dad. Like he was like Buddy the Elf on Elf. That was my dad.
With Christmas.
Yeah, but with everything. Like he just had this incredible love of life and just was so over the top excited and optimistic about everything. And like what a guy to grow up with, right? And so he was he was into all sports. Like he was a great track athlete. Like he held the mile record at the U of A in Edmonton for, I don't know, 30 years. He played hockey, he played basketball, he was a good golfer. And so he's just a good sports guy. And so he joined this group in Calgary called the Booster Club, which was just a group of guys that helped amateur sports. And one meeting they said, hey, who wants to look into bringing the Olympics to Calgary? And he literally just put up his hand. And so, yeah, he won the bid for Calgary and then stayed on as the CEO right from getting it till the day of the Olympics, obviously. And what a lot of people don't know is that they started bidding for the Olympics in 1979. They got the Olympics in 1981. And so that entire time, so yeah, he had to leave his job, and he didn't get paid. So he only got paid for the last 12 months. So 1988. So he worked for 7 years as a strict volunteer and had to leave his job because it was obviously a full-time job. Like, who does that?
How do you live?
He had done well. Like him and his best friend from university started an oil and gas company, and so he was like the senior vice president of it, and they ended up selling the business, and so he had built a little nest egg, and so he'd done well, and so that allowed him to do that. But still, like, no one does that other than Buddy the Elf. And so yeah, he was just an incredible guy, and he came to Cardiff and saw us win one of our second Challenge Cup. He was there for that.
Awesome.
Just, in retrospect, now that he's gone, like, I'm just so happy that he was there to see that. It was just it was so cool.
Yeah, that yeah, that's why I did that podcast with my grandma. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that one.
I did one with my grandma. Yeah. I
gotta see that.
Yeah, she's 89, and I decided. Yeah. Anyways, that's why I did that, so I would have that memory.
Absolutely. Those are you got to do those things. You never know, right? You got to get those memories in.
Okay, so you are the owner of a European hockey team, and you can tell everybody around Calgary.
Hey, that was a good one.
That was pretty bad. That was pretty good. I thought I didn't overgur. Okay. Anyways, where was I going? So you own a hockey team, and so what are you doing now? You're obviously in Calgary, but like, what is your business that bought a hockey team, and what's the name of it?
My company is called Alaris Equity Partners, and it's a private equity company. So we invest in private companies, mostly in the U.S. Actually, we're essentially a U.S. company based in Calgary. So yeah, we invest in private companies, and we do things differently than anybody else. And I'm not going to bore you with any of those details. But yeah, we're an investment company, and so we're actually listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Alaris is, and and it's been a blast. I started Alaris 17 years ago, believe it or not. When I was 34 years old, I started Alaris, and it's just
34. I'm 37, man. I'm just starting this podcast for free now.
Yeah, it's and again, it goes back to my dad. Like he was just the ultimate like go for it guy. I had 3 kids under the age of 7 and a mortgage on my house, and I left everything and started a company from scratch, doing something that no one had ever done before in the investment industry. And so that's on my dad, and that's also on Kim, my wife. Like how many wives are going to say, yeah, that sounds great, hon, go for it.
So how you came up with an idea that nobody else
Yeah.
had is basically what it is.
Yep. Yeah. And it's worked, as it turns out.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, my MBA thanks you too. So thank you for getting the business off the ground so I could get my MBA.
Yeah.
See how this all relates, folks. Okay. So the next question I got then is your son Carter. He got us, I saw on Twitter or wherever I saw it. He got a scholarship to Denver. So how did that all go down? Because that was kind of during COVID and all, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And yeah, he was pretty concerned, as we all were, because going like, is he going to get to play this year? What's going to happen? But he got really hot. So he played. He finished his years of midget here in Calgary, and had a big year. His last year, he was second in Alberta in scoring, and then led the team to the TELUS Cup, which is the national championship. And so we got a lot of eyeballs because of that. Because he had been kind of a little bit of a late bloomer. He's really smart. He's got a little bit of Wally in him. Maybe not the mittens that you had, but like a high hockey IQ guy. So he's not jumping off the page. He's not a big guy. Like he's 5'10". He's not the super fast, but he's just a really smart player. Every coach he's ever had has said that's the smartest player I've ever had. So he started to get noticed in that second year, or his final year in midget, and then went with the Surrey Eagles of the BCHL. And for any parents out there that are looking for their kids to go to college, the BCHL in BC, like they get 20 times more scholarships coming out of the BCHL than any other provincial league in Canada. So most of the colleges do their recruiting out of the BCHL, and he started off pretty slow his first year. And then after Christmas, he was point a game. And I think he had 13 points in his last 8 games to finish the year. And they had a nice first round win in game 7 before COVID shut it down. So kind of around Christmas, he was getting calls from schools like Bentley and St. Lawrence and places like that, which was really exciting. And then after the season ended, he's getting interest from places like Denver and the Ivy Leagues and whatnot. And I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. And it was all because of his coach at Surrey, a guy named Cam Keith. He just went to bat for Carter. He just loved him so much. And he just started calling teams and saying, hey, like, if you're going to sign anybody, it's got to be Carter King. You're just going to love this kid.
Cam Keith, very tall.
No, he'd be 6'1".
Okay.
Which for you is probably very tall, I guess. But
yeah, no, I was thinking he went to the University of Alaska Fairbanks.
He might have.
Okay.
Because he played in DEL too, I think, as well. I don't know if you ran across him there. He'd be about
maybe that's why I'm thinking. I definitely have played against the guy. I know the name, but okay. No, he sounds like a good guy, and for him to do that, that's great. The other thing I was gonna say, while you were going through that, is being the smartest player isn't always the easiest to catch the scout's eye. And
it isn't,
right? Because there's those guys you played with where you don't notice them all game, and then at the end of the game, they got 2 goals and an assist, and you're like, I didn't even really notice it out there. And And being the smart player, that's kind of how it works. Cause like, you just got to know where to be and where to go. You don't have to skate faster than everybody.
Exactly. So yeah, that was always a problem for him. And so it takes a coach to really stand up and tell another coach that that's why you got to sign this guy. And you know, to get a scholarship at a place like Denver, like that's a top 5 hockey program in the States, and a really cool school and a really cool city. That's a 2-hour direct flight from Calgary. So it was like unbelievable. But you know, for him to say no to Ivy League schools was a bit of a shock, because he's a really good student, and that's actually one of the other reasons that these schools wanted him, because you know, you got to keep a certain team GPA.
Yeah.
And so you got to have a few smart guys in there, even if they're not great players.
Yeah, you do. Yep. I know a couple of those guys that got those deals. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, his marks definitely helped him too, because he's a pretty serious. He's a really serious kid. Like he's a super hard worker.
I guess the apples don't fall far from the trees, do they?
No. It's my wife and I, we look at each other because we're complete idiots, and yet we're all 3 of
Is
our
that
kids
right,
are just,
eh?
like, so driven, and it's crazy. Like, I don't know if we dropped them on their heads when they were babies or what, but they're so not like us.
Oh, I think you're doing just fine. I don't know if somebody dropped you on your head, but you seem to be doing just fine.
Worse than that.
No, but your story about your old man kind of reminded me of like my old man hitchhiked out of town at 17 years old, and then did very well and worked for everything he's got. And he still is like, he can't stop. He's he's gotten out of his business now, but like he can't stop. So we have some rental properties, and like he's almost annoying because he's like, we got to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, those are make work projects. We don't actually have to do those, but he just has to work. And I like, but like it rubs off on you, right? And like
it does.
And you see their visions, and then you see what they actually build, and you're like, wow, yeah, no, I get it.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've been watching my old man too, so I get it.
That's awesome. That's it's the best.
Okay. Did you play hockey? So, because my question was, what was your minor hockey and playing career like? Because we've never talked about your hockey career.
Yeah, I did play hockey. I loved hockey. It was without a doubt my first love. Even though I still play basketball, hockey is my favorite sport by far. And so yeah, I wasn't as good as my 2 boys. I was a really good skater at a young age, so I always played above my age group when I was young. And then I had a really weird growth curve. So I completely stopped growing from grade 7 to grade 11, like nothing. And so I was like a reasonable size. I was never like a huge guy. And then all of a sudden I was like by far the smallest in my class. And so like end of grade 11, I was 5'7". And by the time grade 12 started, I was 6'2". So in one summer, I grew 7 inches.
It all just happened in one summer.
Yeah. So by then I had already quit hockey because I wasn't playing at the level that I used to. And it pissed me off. And so I went to other things. And so I started playing other sports, and
that's
how I fell in love with basketball.
Right. That's how Taco Steve starts. Cause you're so gangly. You're like, well, hopefully I can dunk now.
Exactly.
I gotcha. Yeah. I see how it happens. Okay.
Yeah. Guess
what? I never grew. Still
but
5.
You knew who you were.
still 5'7", asshole. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Holy moly. We were so all over the place that
that's me.
Yeah.
I'm bringing you all over the place.
Okay. I got a story then. I'm just going to tell you one of my stories in this 2 ales and hockey tales was when you guys said you did it right. The first year we have Colby, and then Zoe is born. I'm doing school. We live in a nice place. It's beautiful. And then after that year, we've had Zoe, and we got 2 kids now, and Lisa wants 2 bedrooms for the kids, and we'll sleep in the other one, but she wants 3 bedrooms. And I'm telling Todd, we got to have 3 bedrooms because Lisa wants 3 bedrooms. And I'm like, but we want to live in Cardiff Bay, but I got to carpool. And it's like, oh my God, I'm the high maintenance guy now. So I was like, oh my gosh, they can't find an apartment for us. And then they finally find us a 3-bedroom in Cardiff Bay that is within price range. And we moved into that sucker, and it wasn't like the year before, but it was an extra bedroom in the same area. Yeah. But so Todd had done his part. He got us 3-bedroom in Cardiff Bay. It wasn't obviously what we had the year before. Well, the first night in Cardiff, Lisa has a moment there where she's like, our kids can't be in this place. Like it's gross. It's gross. And she's like, look at the couch, look at the bathroom, look at this. And I'm like, no, like but I'm like, but we asked for 3 bedrooms. Like, so like, what do you want me to do here now? Like, do you want 2 bedrooms or like, I don't think there is a 3-bedroom. So it ends up working out that Marty switching apartments, but Todd came down there that day. And I had never wanted to make a call like that. I'd never made a call like that in my career to like a team to be like, geez, I don't know about this place. But he came down and like, looked at it and he's like, no, you're not living here. And we went out, just the 2 of us. And he said, I agree with your wife. You shouldn't live here because I haven't actually seen it. Now that I've seen it, I don't think you should. But he goes, when I was coming here, I was already moving you guys out of here because players need to be happy to play good. And the way that guy gets it, like if my wife isn't happy all year, that will affect my play and my life. And every guy in Cardiff that plays there, Todd goes above and beyond to make them happy, and he did that for me, and he got me a new apartment, and we were happy. So then I spray painted myself, I guess, right?
No, he's unbelievable, but it also relates to now, Todd, every time we're starting to sign new players, single guys.
So why are all the kids at the games now? Because when I played on the team, Colby was the only kid the first year.
I know. And
then all of a sudden I go back, there's like 30 kids. There's like a player kid game.
I know, it's crazy. But, we had all these older guys, like guys that had been in the KHL and even the NHL that wanted to come play for us. And, how do you say no to a guy that's played 300 NHL games just because he has kids? Like, you got to sign him.
Yeah.
And so we almost got too good for our own good when it came to that.
Okay. I just want to say this one time, because when I played really good in Denmark and they didn't want me back, a lot of it I thought had to do with my baggage, was my kids and my wife. And I was like, I played well. And if I was a single guy, I guarantee I'd be back for sure. But I have all the stuff now. You got to pay for all these visas. You got to pay for the kids' visas. You got to pay for a bigger apartment. You got to pay for a bigger car. You got to, I know the baggage I have, and that's why I'm in my shed, Steve.
Fair enough. But it is true. It's our number one cost is accommodation. Like, it's crazy. And Cardiff is expensive to rent. So
in the Bay,
what we're going to do, actually,
beautiful spot.
It's a beautiful spot, but rents are crazy because it seems like more people rent than buy. So and so what we're going to do starting this year, actually this summer, we're actually going to start buying condos, and so we're going to have a bunch of Devils owned condos, and we're just going to maybe buy 1 or 2 a year, and so we can actually control our costs on housing.
I actually think it's a great idea because I don't think they'll be going down in value based on real estate around the world these days.
If you can control your costs forever and make some money with the condos going up, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Geez, I must have got my MBA with all this business talk with CEO of a big company, eh?
So that's our plan. That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping to, if we can eke out like a small profit each year and have that profit be the down payment of an extra condo every year, that's gold.
That's business, baby.
That's it.
I get it. I totally get it. I know what you're talking about. Okay. Next part then. That was my story about the apartments and how the owners and Todd took care of me in Cardiff again. And somehow, after I was the high maintenance player and did all that to Todd, somehow still I got a Wally night. But anywho.
You tell you, Todd just like, there's been some players that came over that, I don't know, weren't the greatest people. Not many. Almost all of our guys have been awesome.
Well, that's the homework. That's the homework they do.
It's the homework. And but even the guys that, aren't really pulling their weight in terms of being good guys, Todd treats them all great. And like it's just awesome to watch. And it's the only reason that you can do this, based here in Calgary, right? And so I've got a bunch of friends like you know a bunch of hockey guys. I know a bunch of hockey guys. Like I'm living everybody's dream, right? And so everybody comes up to me, holy shit, like how did you get into this? How could I do that? And my only answer that I always give, you have to have a Todd Kelman. It's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, you're right. And like who else knows? And you're right, he does know. And that's the weird part about that league is there are only a few. There's like a handful of people that are in that league and know exactly what's going on with every team. Franny has always been one of them. And like, then you got the guys that own the other teams and you got Deuce got right in there, right? Deuce got in there. He's right in there with the whole crew now, eh? I guess maybe if I wouldn't have been so focused on my pregame speeches, I could have been trying to get into the group, eh?
Yeah. You could have been. You could. Well, you're like a cross between Deuce and Deese, I think.
Wow, what would that look like? Jesus. Like yeah, I'm not even gonna say it. Yeah, no, that'd be a strange breed, man. Be a clean guy and yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, there's lots of D stories that can't be repeated on this podcast.
No, this is PG-13. Deese actually performed very well on this podcast. He only swore once, and he was very well behaved.
You know what? I have to apologize that I've sworn a couple of times here. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Your kids watching this?
Not yet. I'm doing this for maybe someday, like I'll be gone and maybe their kids will want to watch and listen to how big of a dandy their grandpa was, right?
Absolutely. The Wally memoirs.
This is, I don't know. This is, I mean, if this is what it takes to catch up with all you guys, like this brings me so much joy, man. Like think about how much we've laughed right now.
I know. And you know what? It's funny because Parker and I, like literally talk every day about the Devils every day.
I couldn't imagine being the owner. Like I literally, like I love you guys for what you guys did for me and my family at that stage of my life. And it really helped me give me some time to adjust to getting ready to go back. And also, like I went over there, like I loved every guy on that team and I wanted to do everything to win. Right. So to have just left would have been like, that would have killed me even more than how much it killed me to watch them play and act like an idiot just to try and help them win. It was a tough time.
Yeah, no, for sure. But you know what? You bring up a good point. Like a lot of the guys that you had played already in other leagues in Europe, but a lot of the guys that come straight from North America, like whether they've been in the A or the ECHL, they can't believe the difference in just the culture of the locker room, because you know, when you're in the minor leagues in North America, you're trying to step on your buddy in the next stall to try and be the next call up.
Oh, they all hate each other.
They all hate each other. And it's, it's kind of a toxic locker room. And it's not really about winning. You know, the coach has to play the prized first round draft pick instead of the guy that's actually good, and all that shit that goes into, you know, the North American minor leagues. Then they come over to the Devils, and all you care about is winning. And in order to win, you have to be like this as a group. And it's just such a breath of fresh air for all these guys coming over.
I don't know how much I've talked about it on here, but like Western Michigan, we sucked. We weren't very good. Then when I get into pro, I hadn't been happy at the end of Western Michigan. It doesn't go well at the start of pro. And then it's like, I don't like it in North America. Like, I'm not happy in the East Coast. This living in the East Coast and trying to battle with all my buddies to try and get up there. And it just wasn't me. It wasn't my personality. Like, I'm competitive as anybody, but I don't want to be that competitive with my teammates. I'll battle you for ice time, but I don't want to battle you to take a step up in my career because it hurt you. That I didn't like. And when I went to Germany, and it's like, here's your 5 imports, here's your 15 Germans, and here's your 2 goalies. This is your team for the year. You guys figure it out. And then, man, I was on a team again. I was part of a team. It was like junior hockey again, where y'all love hockey.
Exactly. You're playing it for the right reason again.
Yeah. And that's what Cardiff was. And I lost that in Germany because like the money got weird, and like didn't get weird. It didn't get that big at all, but like the team wasn't very good. So then you got like a few guys making good money. You got guys making no money. Then it's all like we weren't a team, like not even close. And that happened a couple times. And then in Denmark, it was all good, but like the guys weren't like Cardiff. They weren't like Carl and Hendo and Dougie and Deese and Lordo and Pigs, and the list goes on, but like they weren't like those guys. And when I got to Cardiff, man, what a breath of fresh air. You guys would buy me the sticks I wanted. You'd give me the apartment I wanted. You got a jersey for my kid. You got food in the fridge. And it's like, oh my God, where am I?
We had heard stories from other teams in our league that if you broke a stick as a player, you had to keep that stick and drive to the owner's house and show it to him in order to get another one.
You should have seen it in Helbrod. They put in all this money into a team, and the owner had, or whatever he was, GM owner, I don't know what he was, but he didn't get hockey. He didn't understand it. So he puts in all this money, and he says the sticks don't matter. He says the sticks don't matter. Like, so you just used whatever. And like when Lordo was the coach and he calls me and he says, your sticks are the most important thing you use. And I said, you understand?
You got that right.
you get it? So, are you a player too? Oh, okay. Sorry. You're first line right wing. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. I'll play third line. Whatever, Lordo.
But how good was that? Like having an actual player coach, like
Reggie Dunlop. God, it was living.
I still just love that we had that. And I remember the first time going to Cardiff and standing at the in the bench for a practice, and I don't remember Lordo had the special whistle like built onto his glove, you know, so he could play and then blow the whistle, right? It's unbelievable.
It was incredible. He's an incredible person. He is as driven as they get. He is gonna do big things, isn't he?
He is. Yeah, no, he's one of my favorite guys. We still keep in close touch pretty much on a weekly basis still. And you know, he's starting to get a bit of a big time on me now. you
Oh
know,
dear. Yeah, too busy, eh?
too busy, you know, as he's getting closer and closer to the NHL, like I can see the big time coming where he won't remember my name, but you know, that's fine.
It's okay. They had a game in Cardiff that night, so he didn't have time for a coffee with Wally on Wally night. But hey, that's okay. I didn't want a coffee. I wanted a beer.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're big time, though, Wally. Let that be a lesson to you. Don't get like that.
Hey,
I don't want to see you big time.
Hey, how could I get big time? This is just two ales and hockey tales with Wally.
You know what?
You know what?
Podcast, you're going to be on Barstool, and that you know, you're going to be you're basically the next Joe Rogan. Like, I don't know, you know his contract. Like that could be you.
Somebody told me I was like the hockey Joe Rogan just because I'm just a guy that interviews a guy, right? Hey, I don't want to say it, but I said it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, we got a couple more things that we've been running a while here. Favorite. So, holy moly, I lost my notes. They're gone. Okay, I'm going to have to find them after I ask you this question. Yeah, it's free. Okay, fine. Freestyle Friday for the rest of the day. Whatever day this is of the week, folks, y'all never tell you. Okay. Favorite CHL trips. And just because I've had a couple text messages with multiple owners of the Cardiff Devils today, I'd like to hear about your playing a piano in Sweden.
Yeah, so there was a couple of so I love the CHL trips. So May 19th, coming up in just over a month, is the draw to see which teams are in our pool in the CHL, and it's one of our biggest days of the year. So we're all having a big party, actually. So Shosty, Craig Shostak, he opened up a pub here in Calgary, right in our neighborhood here. And so we've got his entire pub, and we're having a big party on May 19th. You have to come dressed as a CHL country, you know, so lederhosen, whatever you got to come, you know, as Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, whatever. And we're doing that for draw day on May 19th. So we've had some unbelievable trips.
You guys have a terrible time owning this team, eh? You're just having a horrible time.
I know, it's awful. So but not a lot of people can do it. Let me bring this up. So like we'll fly on like a Thursday night overnight. So you land in London at like 10:30 in the morning on the Friday. And then you hop on a bus and you go to Cardiff for another 2.5 hours. And so you're there like basically, I don't know, you usually get there like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And Parker, like there's no resting around Brian Parker. So
he gets excited. He gets excited.
Everybody says, well, you know, maybe we should have a little nap, you know, because we just flew overnight. You never get to sleep really on the planes. And no, there's no napping. And so you get in the shower, you get dressed, and the pub crawl starts right then. And you're going to like 10 different pubs that first night. And then Saturday is game night. And then you hop on a bus to the away city and you see the away game on Sunday, and you're in Heathrow Monday morning for your flight home. Like,
and then it's back to work.
And then it's back to work on Tuesday. And so like this, like everybody, like obviously it's ridiculously fun, but there's not a lot of people that I know that could pull that off. So
just so you guys know though, like, cause I'm assuming if you're the owners of a hockey team, I'm assuming that the four of you own your companies or the CEOs or whatever you want to call them, which I am the CEO of this podcast that so far has not brought in $1. But what was I going to say with that?
What we own? Like, are you talking like a private jet or something?
No, that you own your businesses. Okay. You can take off more than 3 or 4 days. Like you can take off a week and just relax. Like you don't have to go so fast because you guys are the bosses, right?
Yeah, but
they need
you.
Part of that. They need you.
Well, I kind of feel the need to be there, and
I understand.
Yeah, it's all part of that whole drive thing.
I got you.
So anyways, I got to get back to your question. I diverted. So in terms of favorite CHL trips, there's a couple that come to mind, and I'll get to the Sweden part. But one that I really thought was awesome was Bern, Switzerland. So the Devils played, where was it? It was in another CHL city the day before, or maybe 2 days before. And then the players and Lordo took the team bus from that city in another country to Bern. And me and it was just us and the Parkers on that trip. So we took the train. I love European trains. I think they're awesome.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got the food and beer cart, the whole thing. And they're always on time. And so sure enough, we get into Bern and we've got a game the next day. We get into Bern at like 7 at night. So we go for a nice dinner and start getting texts from Todd and Lordo. Their bus is delayed because there was some like Oktoberfest thing going on. And the bus was blocked. They couldn't get through. And so now the bus isn't going to get to Bern until like past midnight the night before a game. And so usually, the players help unload the bus. And so Parker and I said, look, you guys get to bed. We got this. So there's the two owners with all of our wheelie carts and, throwing the bags over their shoulders. And so we unloaded the whole bus and set up the whole locker room.
I love it. I love it. Because you guys would have been having fun, eh?
We were having a blast. And, we'd been drinking for about 8 hours at this point. So we were making a good time. And there's this cute little gal that's running the arena, and she doesn't know what to make out of this. And, she knew that we were the owners. And then all of a sudden, can you imagine the owner of the Bern team unloading the bus and setting up the locker room?
No, I don't. I cannot imagine that because I had never met an owner until I met you, I think.
Exactly. So then, it was me, Brian, and Todd doing all this, and actually, you know what, Kim and Sharon too. And so finally we're done, and we go out, and this, the arena in Bern is unbelievable. Have you been in there?
No. The only Swiss A-League arena I've been in is Lugano, and I lost 7-0, and they chanted, "What league are you from?" But no, that's it.
That makes sense. But this Bern, like, it's got to be one of the great hockey rinks in the entire world. It's got these great wooden beams arching across the top and natural light coming through. But it's now like 1 a.m, and we're there, and we're in this empty like church of hockey. And so we look at each other, the three of us, and we say, like, we got to go on the ice. And so we're half ripped, and there's no lights on at all. And so we go back into the locker room, try and kind of thumbnail which guys would have skates about the same size as us. And me, Brian, and Todd go out there, and this poor gal that works for Bern, she's trying to stop us. And I finally just took her aside. I said, look,
we're doing this.
I don't want to be a jerk, and but we're doing this. Like, you literally can't stop us. And so we're going out there, and we're just giving her like hot laps, passing back and forth. And so 1 a.m, half ripped in Bern, Switzerland, we're out there, pitch black ring. That was one of my highlights. And then in Sweden, we keep on getting like the Swedish Elite League champs in our pool. It's like a running joke. So 3 straight years.
Those teams are pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And like Switzerland is good. Those Swedish teams are way better.
Really?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Then the Swiss A teams.
Yeah.
I never played against a Swedish team in the Swedish. I didn't play against any Swedish teams, actually. Swiss. But the Swiss B team, I didn't think were very good. I thought a second league German team would beat a Swiss B team. But the Swiss A team, I played Lugano. They had like Rob Niedermeyer. They had all these Swiss national players. Like, they were so fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they're really good. But from what we've seen, like the SHL teams are that much faster.
Is that right?
Yeah, and they win the Champions League pretty much every year. It's either them or Finland, but mostly Sweden. So yeah, we go to. I think that year we were in. I think it was Vakwa. It's like spelled like Vax Joe, but I think it's pronounced Vakwa.
Yeah.
And so then we thought, I've never been to Sweden before, so let's go to Stockholm, have some fun. And Brian Parker, amongst all of his other talents, he is without a doubt the number one pub crawl director in the world. Like in the world, he puts like dozens of hours. Oh, Flames just won against your Stinky Leafs 3-2 in overtime. Kim, would you mind grabbing the other Guinness?
No, that's okay.
It's 2 ales, so I need my second one. But,
yeah, absolutely do.
So yeah, we go to Stockholm for a pub crawl, and I didn't even know this, but Swedes are actually really conservative.
Oh,
They're quiet, and thank you.
All the Scandinavian countries are. Denmark was the same. They were very laid back.
But I think the Finns rip it up, though.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Finns are different. Finns are. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, we go on this pub crawl in Stockholm, and there's like, I think on this trip we had like 16 to 20 of us. And so we're all decked out in our Devils gear. We got Canadian flags. We got Welsh flags. We got different songs that we're singing, like all the Devils songs at every bar. And I tell you, like, they did not like us at all. Like, we were getting.
Well, you just did the.
That was my mom calling me after a big.
I was gonna say you just cut out there. So they didn't like you there for a second. Your mom called.
Yeah, she calls me after every Flames win. 83 years old. Still,
I thought she was an Oilers fan.
Oh God, no.
I thought she was from Edmonton.
You know what? She's from Edmonton, but she's
converted now.
She moved here with me 51 years ago, so that's enough.
Okay, well,
and you know what? There was no Oilers back then, and there was no Flames back then either.
Oh, well then I guess she didn't have to be converted for the Battle of Alberta. Exactly. Okay.
So yeah, the story in one of those bars, we got kicked out of a few places.
In Sweden, you got the owners of the Cardiff Devils are getting kicked out of Vaxjo.
No, this was in Stockholm.
Oh dear, and Stockholm's a big city, and you guys can't hang there, eh?
You know what, Wally? They can't hang.
No.
They can't hang. And
I understand.
Yeah, so one of these places, we had kind of a separate room, which is good. Like, we're on our own. And there was this old piano in there. And it's got this big sign on the top of it, says, "Do not touch." So, what are you supposed to do? You got to play. And so my mom actually back in the day was a pianist. So I had to go, in addition to all my sports stuff, I had to go take piano lessons like every day. It was painful. But it paid off at this bar in Stockholm. so
oh my God.
So everybody starts bugging me. Oh, get on there. And so I said, okay, what do you want me to play? They said, the little Billy Joel Piano Man.
Hold on. How long did you take piano lessons for?
Not as long as my mom wanted. I don't know, probably till I was 12 or 13 or something like that.
You can play Billy Joel Piano Man?
Well, not very well, and only I've lost a lot of it now. I don't practice, but so it was only the right hand.
Okay. Carry on.
Yeah, so we're I'm playing the Piano Man, and all 20 of us are just belting it out, right? And this waitress comes in and slams the case to the piano shut, puts the sign back on, and she says, "You must not make noise." It's a bar. There's a piano here. Like, what are you talking about?
And she said you couldn't make noise?
You must not make noise. So yeah, it was we're kind of anti-Sweden in our Devils crowd.
Wow. So you're saying for your event this year, you're not dressing Swedish?
There,
You're not looking for them
be,
in the draw.
There may be some anti-Sweden outfits in the crowd. And they keep on beating us too. That's the other thing.
Well,
like badly.
Yeah, well, I played the BBT when I played for the Cardiff Devils, right? No, you know what somebody said to me this week? It was actually Dennis Weidman, former Calgary Flame. He's going to go on my buddy's podcast that started this whole thing, episode 2, Jeff Lavecchio. So he went on mine, and between the two of us, we decided, or Weidman's willing to go on there, so he's going to do that. And I tell you, like he said to me, brick by brick, I said, like, you imagine one day I could make money drinking beers with my friends and talking hockey? Like, do you imagine if I could do this for a while?
What a world.
And he said, brick by brick, Wally, brick by brick.
Brick by brick. Yeah. The Joe Rogan of hockey podcasts.
One podcast at a time, twice a week. Sorry, honey.
I'll be in the shed.
Yeah. Yeah, twice a week, at least, minimum. It's too fun. Like, how much fun have you had today? Seriously.
I've had a great time. Literally any time I have a chance to talk Devils hockey, and especially with a Cardiff Devils legend like the Wally himself, sign me up.
Oh dear. No, like, you're right. Like, this is we're just building the brand. I'm just a brand ambassador, like you'd say. Just free of charge other than Wally night, but that was a great night. No, but seriously, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for that night, because honestly, the reason I started this podcast, I would say when I was a young buck, I was not oozing confidence when I got into pro, and when I left Western Michigan, I was like, wow, look at those guys and look at those guys. And then I was kind of like that through my pro career, except for when I went to like the second league in Germany, and I was like, oh, I can be the guy here.
I got this.
But then when it came to doing a podcast, like, if it wasn't for having a Wally night, if it wasn't for you guys and like me not being able to detach from the game, I would have never started this, and I would have never had the confidence to start this, and to think I'd even have anything to talk about if you guys wouldn't have done that for me. So thank you very much.
Oh man. It is well, needless to say, we as you pointed out, we haven't had as many nights for retired players as we should have. So it wouldn't have happened for just anybody, and it didn't happen for just anybody. It was because you were who you were, and especially for a guy that played 60 games for us in total.
Yeah, it wasn't long. I don't know. It was just over a season, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, special people are special people. Doesn't matter how long you're there.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you. So, anyways, my whole career, I felt like I didn't have the confidence, and then there was that day where I'm listening to these other podcasts and I'm like, well, why can't I do that? Like, why can't I?
Yeah.
I like talking to people. I do. And I like talking hockey, and I have a lot of interesting friends. So why can't I do it? Right. It's kind of like you as a 34-year-old saying, why can't I start Alaris, which I never asked you. What's the background behind that name? That's from one of the owners, by the way.
Alaris, yeah, that actually is another thing that points back to my dad. So I started Alaris, and I couldn't think of a good name. I'd never started a company before. I'm going, man, like, I don't know. Everything I thought of was like really goofy. And so I emailed my dad. I said, look, you've been around a long time. He was a great entrepreneur. Like, how do I do this? Like, I can't think of a good name. And so in typical dad fashion, he comes back with this like 7-page analysis of how to name a company. And, should be, closer to the start of the alphabet, and, shouldn't be too descriptive, it shouldn't be, Steve's private equity group. And and so anyways, he gave me like 3 or 4 different suggestions. And Alaris was my favorite one because it's actually a Latin word that stands for on the wings of an army. And I'm thinking, you know, we invest in all these entrepreneurs that run all these businesses. Like we're just on the wings of that army. And so then Todd asked me that one day, said, what does Alaris stand for? And I said, it stands for on the wings of an army. He says, oh my God, like the Red Army. And so on all of our Devils merchandise over the last few years, he's put that on the wings of an army. And even it was even on the cuff of our jersey last year. And like I started bawling the first time I saw it because I just lost my dad. And I see this jersey with on the wings of an army on it. And like it just had so much meaning to me, right? It was unbelievable. So yeah, that's that story.
Todd was the one that mentioned that one. And
Yeah.
I actually talked to Shostak and Todd today.
Nice.
Well, just a couple quick texts, you know, just to see what I could get out of you.
I gotta tell a Shasti BBT story because I know you love the BBT and I know you love Shasti, as everybody does, right?
Yeah.
Shasti's just one of those guys. Like you cannot not love Shasti.
He's having a good time.
He's always having a good time, and so
all you guys are though. Like who's kidding who? Like when you guys come over, it's like don't forget your story. When we lost the Challenge Cup final the second year, when I was just a sideshow and doing whatever I could, my wife and kids decided to come in case we won to be a part of it. We were paid for that apartment. That next morning I went down to pay. You guys had paid. Just saying what type of life it is in Cardiff. Not saying they do that for everybody every time. I'm just saying it happened that time. But the night before, after we lost, the team was doing their thing. They were in bed. And yourself and Todd and me, and I think it was Craig, right? It was the 4 of us. So. We sat up for a long time discussing the Cardiff Devils, which is, I guess, something we both like to do.
We do. But yeah, so and it's one of those things, like we're only there for like a few days at a time, and so you know we love to have fun, we love to be around people, and you know we enjoy the odd adult beverage as well. And so you know because we're usually at like fan events, you know, that start at like noon, and then you go right through and you're drinking right through the game, and
it's nonstop.
So nonstop, and you're tired, like you know you're jet lagged, and so it just adds up on it. And so there was one of the games in the BBT. Remember Todd had that little like DJ station like right in the corner where he was doing the the stuff, and the TV guys are down there, and so they wanted to interview us between periods. And so we go down from where we were, which is, you know, by the bar, and we go over there at intermission, and it's me, Brian, and Craig. And so they want to start the interview, but Craig is missing. Like, where is he? Which is not unusual, by the way. He disappears. And so we start, and then here comes Craig, you know, just kind of smile on his face, hanging out. And where were you? Says, oh, I was in the refs room. What do you mean? I thought the refs were shitty, so I figured I'd go in there and let them know. And Todd is like, dude, like an owner can't go into the refs locker room between periods.
He went to the refs locker room and told them they were shitty.
Yeah.
In between periods.
With a
beer in his hand, and that's why he missed. Like, and that, like, you guys buy that team for the lower price, and then like what it becomes, and you guys going over there and having fun like that, and like you guys go from him showing up in the ref's little room there, the little nook with a beer, saying, "Come on, guys," like, to being in the Champions League and skating in Perth is just ridiculous.
Yeah. So every trip there's like some story like that, right? And it's unbelievable.
I can't, but yeah, that sounds like so much fun with your buddies.
It is, but it's one of those things, like, you can't really, like, I can talk to you about it, but like I can't talk to that many of my friends about it because again, like, it's too good almost. Like, you can't.
Yeah, I know,
You
and
look like a jerk.
I'm having a hard time when I talk to people, not talking about the podcast because I'm so excited about it, and I'm so excited about who I'm bringing on next, who I talked to last time, and like that's what I'm excited about, and it's hard to not talk about it, and I could imagine it would be really hard for you.
Yeah. No, the people in my office are just like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, you're the owner of a team that wins every year. I
Ooh.
get it. Yeah. Woo. Woo. Oh, I forgot about that first year. Every time somebody would say that's something that they thought that was woo. Remember that?
Now I'm gonna ask you, like, because it's like this ridiculous thing to buy a hockey team, and I'm some kid from Calgary, Alberta, and so I don't know if you remember the very first time that all of us came to Cardiff. We met all of you in the locker room in the BBT, and I started off with the way I always wanted to start it off, and I said, "Look, I know all you guys have been wondering who owns the Chiefs." That was my first statement as owner of the Cardiff Devils.
Yeah, no, and you did. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is the type of guy I want to play for. But like, I was just, it was everybody, man. It was you guys. It was Todd. It was every player on that team. Like there was just character. There was passion. There was drive. There was like, maybe not everybody had a cold tub after every game and had a protein shake and foam rolled and stretched and did all that. But after we would win a game on a weekend, we would have a lot of ice bags on and we would drink a lot of beers. And that was a team back then.
That's what life's about, man. I tell you, like, there's no such thing. Like, you can't just be robots. Like, the only way you can win is if you're having the time of your life and you love every guy in your room. That's the only time you win.
Oh,
so, like,
absolutely.
You can't be a total idiot. But no one that gets to that level can be a total idiot anyways. I take that back. There's probably a few guys, but you know what? Everybody's got to love each other. Everybody's got to have a great time, and you can't just be grumping around. Like, you gotta love being there.
Yeah, and that's what it was. And it's weird how much I have been such a Cardiff Devils supporter since it's all been over, but I'll tell you more about that after we're done recording.
Now, the other thing I have to bring up, and I know you're going to ask me about it, but I got to get you as a brand supporter for the Cranbrook Bucks now too.
Yes, that's what that I would say that'd be about the end here is like, so you've already bought one team in 2014. Now you're going to go ahead and buy another team. It seems like during COVID, because Elite Prospects says you're from Edmonton, but you're actually from Calgary.
Calgary.
But you're the owner also of the Cranbrook Bucks.
Cranbrook Bucks.
Elite Prospects since 2020.
Yeah. So it's an expansion franchise in the BCHL. So Junior A.
Do you have a Todd Kelman?
Yeah, Todd Kelman. Well, Todd and Lordo both played for the Vernon Vipers, which is actually the team that Shosty's son Ryan plays for right now. So he's in the BCHL. My son played in the BCHL before he went to Denver. And so this came about actually because of the Devils. So there's a young guy, name is Nathan Lewin, who he's actually a goalie for the Buffalo Sabres, not for very long. But made some reasonable money in hockey, and he's a Cranbrook native. And Cranbrook had a WHL team that moved to Winnipeg. So they've got this state-of-the-art, unbelievable arena in Cranbrook and no tenant. And so he wanted to bring the BCHL there. And the league basically said, look, you're a young guy. We think you need some people around you that know how to run a hockey team. And
what's his name?
Nathan Lewin.
Okay. Sorry, don't
know. He's a young guy. He's only he might be just 30 years old.
So he's your Todd Kelman.
He's our Todd Kelman, but he's the majority owner. I'm just a minority in this one. And so one of his good friends is a guy named Adam Cracknell. I don't know if you know that name.
Yeah, I know the name. Played for St. Louis. Yeah.
He's played for everybody. He's one of the great suitcase players of all time. And so he's through a guy in my office, he's become a friend. And he played for the Kootenay Ice out of Cranbrook, and had his number retired, and so he was in the group with this Nathan Lewin. And when the league told them they needed kind of some more depth to it, Cracknell called me up and asked if I would join, and also Scott Niedermeyer is an owner as well, because he's like Mr. Cranbrook. The Niedermeyer brothers, they're from Cranbrook, and
is that where they're from?
That's where they're from. So
they should probably own at least a part of it with how much they've made. I'd say.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's Nathan Lewin is the majority owner, and Adam Cracknell, Scott Niedermeyer, myself, and Chosty. I once again asked Chosty to come in on this one too.
And so would that team have played this year?
Yeah, so what they did, they were locked down until 2 weeks ago. And so the BC government finally gave them permission to do kind of 5 mini bubbles. And so there's 3 or 4 teams in each little bubble, and they just play each other. And so they're going to do 20 games in 40 days, just so these kids can get on the radar, right? So, all the games are televised. So all the scouts from the different colleges can watch every game and get these kids scholarships.
Well, I guess that's what needs to happen, right? These kids need to play games, and it needs to be streamed or something, or something to get the coach. You know what? This may be the best thing for the NCAA ever, and realize they're how to cut costs, is they don't have to have coaches fly all over the place. They're just going to Zoom everything, just like the podcast.
Totally. Just like the Wally. So yeah, it's good. It's a great league. Cranbrook's a great little town. It's actually only about a 3-hour drive from Calgary. So,
you own a team 3 hours away, and however many hour flight away.
Yeah, 9-hour flight. So yeah, it's not real close, but Cranbrook is awesome. The arena is awesome. This Nathan Lewin is he's another Todd Lordo type guy, just totally driven, awesome guy, treating everybody great. It's going to be, I think, one of the top franchises in Canadian junior hockey. So it's pretty cool.
I can't believe. Yeah. If you're owning it with Shosty and those other fellas, I'm sure they'll do just fine. And
all right, if you got a chance to sign with a junior team that's owned by Scott Niedermeyer, and he can open some doors for you, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. My kid's 8 now. Just saying, he's on the radar, right?
We have got a spot for Colby lined up. I've been watching that kid play since he was 2.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, I think this has crossed over into late hours. So the only thing I have left, actually, this is something we almost missed, is your summer summits as owners. Or should I just save that for the Parker episode, maybe? Because I think I'm going to need to have him on at some point. But you know what? I think we got to discuss, because you bring the coach, you bring the GM over from the UK. You guys have what it seems like the best weekend I've ever seen. But the only reason why I think you'd probably be in a bad mood those weekends is because I hear you're a terrible beanbag cornhole player.
Oh, that's absolute garbage. So first of all, I barely play because my two boys are too good at it.
Are you blaming this on the growth spurt back in high school again?
You know what? Yeah, kind of my joints aren't right because I grew too fast. But no, so Todd and Lordo love to play, and my boys just kick the crap out of them every time. So I just sit there and drink beer and laugh. That's all I do with the cornhole. But there's been some great summit stories. So we always have the summit at the time of the Calgary Stampede. And Wally, like, you have to come. Because the Calgary Stampede is like the greatest human rodeo of all time.
I've heard stories. I've been to Oktoberfest and I've been to those places in Germany. I have not been to Calgary and the Stampede, but you can't tell me that's nothing. But I do need to see it. You're right. I need to see it.
Yeah, no, I remember Lordo the very first year that he came, and he went into Cowboys, the big bar, the famous bar, and like deer in the headlights. It was like he had never seen anything like it in his entire life, and he's like so addicted. So Lordo would stay here. Todd would stay with his family, and so he would stay in the basement. As soon as Bownsy cleared out, Lordo would come in, and so we'd go. And Lordo, I don't want to get in the way of the young bucks, right? So I'd usually stay out till like 2 or 3, and then leave Lordo to his own devices. And so I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, James, my son, was also out that night at Stampede. So he came home. So I came home first, left the door open for Lordo. And then James comes home and locks everything up, assuming, because it was like the wee hours of the morning, assuming that he was last man in. And so Lordo comes back and somehow finds his way back to my house, which sometimes didn't happen because he would get, his phone would be dead, couldn't remember my address, whatever. And so Lordo comes back, everything is locked. He doesn't want to wake us up. And so he goes out onto our back deck and sleeps like some rolled up dog blanket in our back deck. And it was a really hot week. So he wakes up and the sun is just beating down on him, and it's already like 30 degrees. And he's like, he can't swallow. He's so parched. And so I get up in the morning and I'm like walking around, like pouring myself a glass of juice, and I see Lordo laying out on the back deck, going, man, he's up early. Wonder why, I was catching some rays out early. And so no, he still had his cowboy boots on, the jeans, the whole thing. Just, oh my God, I can't breathe, I can't swallow. So I spent the whole night out there in a dog blanket.
Jeez, I've never seen Lordo deal with adversity so well.
Yeah, no, he's a big fan of the Stampede. It's his one chance, like, Lordo, like he's always like so driven, so focused. The Stampede week is his 1 week to just let loose, and he does a good job of it.
So he would actually do that in front of the bosses, eh?
It took a little while for him to really get to know us. But yeah, we have an owner's like text chat group. Yeah. And so yeah, it doesn't.
I'll be on it soon, no problem.
You'll be on it soon for sure.
Yeah, no worries.
It doesn't take long being on that chat group to realize how ridiculous we are, and that there's nothing that's off limits.
Right. I get it. You just got to get to know people, and then
you do.
You relax.
We had Marty in last year, Joey.
Did he come? Oh yeah, I remember the pictures. Gosh darn it.
He came, and he was single, and I just said, Marty, like, this is, I don't know, like, I don't want to lay the law down on our star player, but like, if you don't, take advantage of the stampede here while you're single, I'm not sure you're invited back to the team, to be quite honest.
I understand.
So we'll just leave the story at that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know where he was staying. If he was staying at your house, I hope the kids were already in bed. But no, I get it.
You know what? None of my kids were actually home that week. And so
they weren't home for Stampede week, so they were out and about. They were doing their thing.
Out and about. And so I had Lordo in the basement and Joey upstairs in James's room. So it was quite the house.
Well, it sounds, you know what it actually sounds like? It sounds a lot like the Elmira Maple Syrup Festival.
Right.
That's actually just how I grew up, is all my buddies from college head back to the Elmira Maple Syrup Festival, and we would just lay one down for the day. Sounds just like the Stampede.
I was just about to say that, the Elmira Maple Syrup.
Oh, sugar and spice and everything nice.
Too good.
Okay. I don't think, is there anything else you'd like to say before I have my closing? I think we've been going a very long time, actually, for a player and owner.
I think we did it.
I think so too. I just want to thank you like so much for like bringing the passion back in hockey to me, because there were a couple of years there where I didn't have owners, GMs, coaches that really got it. And you guys all got it. You guys all got our side of things. And it brought back my love of the game, but it also having Hendo and Carl and all the dandies we had on that team, Deese and like, and then Todd running it. And like, then you guys coming over and like, you're not there long, but like, you can tell the type of people you are, and everything we needed, we had. It was, and that's why I wave the Cardiff Devil flag all the time, is because of,
or painted on you.
Well, I'm not getting a tattoo, but like I'll get spray painted for a few days. It took a few days. It was a while.
No, you know what? Well, it's I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I really am, and that's been by far my favorite part of it, is just the people that we've been able to meet, like guys like you. I've been so lucky to get to know a lot of the players and also the fans. Like I've got so many friends now in Cardiff that
I know, it's crazy.
Like I have a bunch of fans, like they email me directly, like all the time, even during the pandemic. I'm getting these emails from the fans in Cardiff, and I'm on the the Inferno chat site with them, or tweeting with them, and it's so awesome. Like why would you not be a part of all that? Like why would you not want to be a part of all that? It's been awesome. It's been like for as much as like people thank me, I always get like completely embarrassed by it, because like I feel like I'm robbing a bank here. Like I'm just like having the time of my life, and you went from the BBT to this, and like, man, watching what it's become from what I was there for. I'm proud of it, and I don't even have anything to do with it. It's our fourth straight year in Champions Hockey League. I think there's only 3 other teams in the world that can say that.
But the thing is people want to win, and it's like you say, the KHL players and all that. If they're going to think about the UK, Cardiff's the spot, because we are the spot now, because it all started back then when we started winning stuff. And all of a
Big
sudden
time.
we were back on the map. And it's like, well, guys want to win stuff. Like, who won there lately, right?
Yeah. And it was we look back on it all the time. You know, we talk about it all the time. It was you guys that started all this, right? Like that original group was just so special. And you know, how lucky are we too? Like, we still have a lot of guys from that original group.
I know. And how lucky am I with the podcast, right? But
yeah,
I would have liked them to go other places so we'd have more to talk about than just the Devils.
Screw that. There's only one team to talk about.
That's right. I'm only the brand ambassador for one team.
Yeah, if you're going to get that sponsorship deal out of us, like, you can't be talking about anybody else.
Oh, I would never talk anything positive except you guys. Okay, I think we should shut this down. I just want to say thank you so much for being the guy you are, and all the other owners, and Todd, for like just being the people you guys are. Like, I know who I like hanging out with, and when you guys would come over, I was like, geez, I wish I wasn't a hockey player this weekend. I really wish I could hang out with them. So thank you for being who you guys are. And like, I'll never have an owner of a hockey team like that ever again, because I don't ever want to lace them up again other than coaching.
Because you're old. Yeah.
No, but like, because you guys are the best owners like you could ever have on any team in any league. Like, it fits so well with the people we had on that team, because if you would have started treating us probably the way a bunch of us have been treated in our careers, we would not have played like we did that year. Carl wouldn't have been Carl. Hendo was one of the best players in the league that year. Hendo wouldn't have been Hendo. He wouldn't have been fighting everybody. If we would have been treated the way we did, we wouldn't have been the team we were. And that is why the Cardiff Devils are so good now. Well, so there you go.
Thank you for all that. But yeah, thank you for being a part of that and creating it too. It was all you guys that did it.
Well, thanks for the Wally night too. I had a great time, and never would have ever thought in my wildest dreams I'd be flown back over to Cardiff. Not just to do a pregame speech, because there was more to it than that. I couldn't thank you guys enough, because it also gave me the confidence to start this shit.
Well, I tell you, we'll still be there. You know, you won't have owners like us again because you're old, but we will still be there in Cardiff when Colby's ready for us. So first with the Cranbrook Bucks, and then with the Devils when he's done college.
Hey, no problem, as long as I'm a part owner in both franchises. Okay, that's been 2 Hails and Hockey Tales with Wally, and I am now a part owner of 2 franchises. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.